this is Heda. Welcome back to my channel. 2023 is almost here, which means that I am setting up my 2023 reading journal. I will, of course, take you through my 2022 reading journal, what worked, what didn't work, do a little flip through, and also show you how I set up my new journal for 2023. And my new journal is this one. This video is kindly sponsored by Notebook Therapy. They're one of my favorite brands in the stationery world. They provided me with this beautiful warm green dot grid notebook. It really gives me the cottage feels. You always get 10% off your order from Notebook Therapy with my affiliate code mochibujo10. And if you want a list of my favorite products from them, then I have put that list in the description box below. And now let's take a look at my 2022 reading journal before diving into a brand new journal setup. My 2022 reading journal has actually been with me for around 14 months now, since I actually set it up in November 2021 and started using it from November 2021. So this journal has been a long project. I have really enjoyed using this Neapolitan notebook from Archer & Olive. I've praised it a lot in my monthly reading journal videos, but it's almost full now, so it's time to set up my next one. I'm flipping through my journal here so that you can see how I've filled it. Of course, first there is my index, and then on the next couple of spreads I have a books to read spread, which is kind of like a to be read list. I printed out book covers and just glued them in here. I actually didn't read all of them, but that's okay. On this page I have reading recommendations from you guys, which you gave me after my 2022 reading journal setup video last year. I also had a reading tracker where I would mark all the days that I read, but to be honest it was too much effort and I gave up after just a few months. I think it was a really fun idea, but it just didn't work. I don't open my reading journal every day. I only open it when I have read a book and want to make a spread about it. So I realized that anything that requires daily checks is not going to work for me in my reading journal. I did an around the world challenge this year where I challenged myself to read books from all parts of the world. I got like 7 out of 12, so not great, but not awful either. I still think it's a really cool challenge. I would recommend doing it if you want to. I'll be doing a different challenge for 2023, and to be honest, one challenge a year is enough for me. I get asked a lot about what I actually write in all the spreads that I make. It's really simple actually. I make one spread for each book I read and I write what I thought about the book. And that's it. No ratings, no synopsis, no analysis, just what I liked or disliked about the book, how it made me feel, maybe some reflection. My reading journal is a creative project. It's like my own private creative project that is also a chill and not stressful project. It's not somewhere that I have to justify why I'm reading a certain book or think up some long analysis of a book or give a comprehensive review. Some people enjoy that and are very passionate about their book reviews. And, I read people's book reviews on Goodreads sometimes and I get it. But me personally, I kind of would see that as a chore or at least like a bigger task, feeling that I need to write down something profound. And I don't want that pressure in my reading journal. So yeah, my spreads are very simple like that. And the only other spreads that I make are cover pages for each month. And on the cover page, I just have little sections for where I can write down the books, like the title and the author of the books that I read during that month. So yeah, I'm quite proud to have filled another reading journal. It's a lot of writing. Sometimes I have a lot to write and other times not so much. Oh, and by the way, you won't be seeing a video about my November and December reads on my channel until January because I simply don't have time to make it before Christmas and I want to take some time off during the holidays and be with my family. But I will combine November and December into one video, and I'll also do a recap of my 2022 reads in January and kind of go more in depth about my favorite books from the year and all of that, because I won't really be talking much about actual books in this particular video. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Make sure that you turn on notifications on my channel, or at least subscribe so that you know when I put out a new video. And now on to my brand new beautiful reading journal. Just like my 2022 reading journal, my new journal for 2023 is an A5 size. It comes in a beautiful white box, and this notebook is a gorgeous warm green. It's called the Mori notebook, and it's part of the Cottage Friends collection from Notebook Therapy. Look at those gilded edges. It's so pretty. It's definitely serving the cottagecore vibes that I love. It's like my favorite aesthetic this year for sure. And yeah, I love this notebook so much. I've actually had it for a little while now, and I've just been dying to use it, so I am really excited. Now, compared to last year's reading journal, this one only has white paper, so there will be no more black and craft paper pages for now, but that doesn't mean I can't get creative with the backgrounds and everything in this notebook. My method, I guess, with my reading journal is a lot of collages, and that means that the notebooks get chunky. My 2022 reading journal is so chunky. The cover on both sides is like bulging out, and I didn't really want that to happen to this one. I mean, it's gonna happen anyway, but I didn't want it to be as severe. I also know that I don't need 160 pages, which is what this notebook has. I'll be making 5 spreads max every month if I keep to the same reading pattern as I have in 2022. So I decided to perform a little surgery on my notebook. I've never done this before, so it was very scary, but what I decided to do was remove the middle page of half of the signatures. And I'll probably do all of them eventually, but I just started with half just because I was worried that something would go wrong. Basically, I did every other signature, and I was super careful using my X-Acto knife to make sure that I didn't damage the binding in any way, because then all the pages would come out and that would be very sad. It did work. I mean, yeah, it looks a little bit strange now because the notebook is empty, but I think that maybe when it fills out, it will look a bit better. I think maybe I didn't have to do half of the signatures right away. I could have just done the first one and then just like removed pages as I went, but you know, we're here now. I'm planning on using the pages that I removed in my next bullet journal setup, so stay tuned for that to see how I use them. The paper in this notebook is 160 GSM, so the pages are quite thick, and you can definitely tell that I have removed pages when looking at the notebook now. But yeah, like I said, I think it will just, you know, get better the more I use the notebook. But yeah, you can see here that there are some gaps. I removed 4 pages. I only showed you 2, but I removed 4 in total, and I'll probably remove more down the line, but for now I will leave it like this. And so far so good. Nothing has fallen out or anything, so I think it will work out. On the first page, I'm not going to do any major decorations. I just wrote my name in the section where you write your name. But on the page after that, which is that weird page that connects the signatures to the binding of the notebook, I decided to do a little collage, kind of like a cover page for the reading journal. I did this last year as well, and I think also in the years before that. It's just nice to have a little page that signifies what kind of journal this is, so I'll write reading journal on there. And also when setting up a new journal, it's nice to kind of have this first initial spread to get your creative juices flowing and kind of experiment a little before you get into the important spreads, you know? I didn't really plan the setup very well. Like, I knew kind of in what order I wanted the specific spreads, but I didn't actually plan out any themes. But it hasn't been that long since I released my Autumn in Japan sticker collection in my sticker shop, so I thought, let's use those stickers because I really love them, and the ducks and the geese are so cute, and I just want them in my journal all the time. I can't do the same bullet journal theme twice in a row, so I'm putting it here instead. I know I have a really big collection of ephemera, like papers, tags, washi tape, and everything. So I'll try to explain where everything is from. The big washi tape on the bottom is from the Light Academia washi tape set from Notebook Therapy. The big piece of paper here is from the Hinoki starter kit. There's a lot of beautiful paper, like handmade papers in that set. Hinoki is like the new sub-brand from Notebook Therapy, and that's also where the doily is from and the little frame that I am putting here. And the green washi tape on top is from the Mori washi tape set, also from Notebook Therapy. All the stickers are from me except for the like watercolor ones, the green and the brown watercolor stickers. Those I bought here in Japan. I've seen them at Tokyo Hands and at Loft if you're ever in Japan. I know it might seem a little bit weird to make this very like fall theme when I'm gonna start using this journal in January, but it's more of like a Japan cottagecore theme, and those are things that I really like, and I want to make my reading journal a very cozy space. You know, it's not very cozy. The apartment that I'm in, the building has like no insulation right next to a park where lots of children play. There is a woodworking shop next door. They just demolished the house next to the woodworking shop, and someone is cutting steel just outside. And also there is a hospital around the block where lots of ambulances go to. So yeah, there will be a lot of background noise in this video. But it's okay, just deep breaths, relax, everything will be okay. We are moving on to the next spread, and this will be my index spread. At first, I wanted to do kind of a romantic pink and red theme for the spread, but I ended up changing it to a green theme to fit the cover page, and then I'm doing the romantic theme for the next couple of spreads. I don't really use an index page in my bullet journal, but in my reading journal it is kind of helpful because I do make a lot of different spreads. Kind of when I did index pages in my bullet journal, I would maybe just do like March spreads, April spreads, and kind of list them like that instead of every single spread. But in my reading journal, I am listing every single spread because they're all books that I read. So I find it quite helpful. Now, in my 2022 reading journal, the index spread wasn't enough actually, but I'm hoping that in this one spread will be enough because there will be 2 less months to worry about, since this one will be for 12 months and not for 14 like my previous reading journals. And if not, it's not the end of the world, it's just an index page, so it's not that deep. I am using the Cottage Friends washi tape set from Notebook Therapy to decorate the spread, and also more scrapbooking paper from Notebook Therapy. They have a few different paper sets. My favorite so far has been the papers in the Hinoki starter kit. I really love those, and they're also a smaller size, so a little bit easier to store in my case since I live in a suitcase. I really love combining the Cottage Friends set with the Mori set because they have very similar colors, and I find that the Light Academia washi tape set also goes really well with the Mori and the Cottage Friends because it's all like browns and beige neutral colors, you know. And if there's one thing I've learned this fall is that I really love neutral colors, and I really love green. And I was so excited when Notebook Therapy started making more green colored sets because other colors are great and all. I love pink, I love purples, I love all of that, but there's just something about green. It's just special. I don't know what to say, it's special. So yeah, really excited to be creating with these colors and also combining them with my own stickers. These are the circle and eyelet stickers that you can find in my little sticker shop. It's called Ikigai Papir, and there is a link in the description box. This little tape is like a doily tape. It's really cute. I think I got it at Itoya here in Tokyo in Ginza. It's a really, really nice stationery store, kind of fancy. I'm using a zebra mild liner to make little lines, and this is a technique that I use a lot to kind of separate a big white space into lines. Because with a dot grid notebook, you don't really have like clear defined lines necessarily, so I used this highlighter to make those lines and then kind of make it a bit easier to see which line is which. If that makes sense, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Anyway, it brings the spread together, makes it look fuller even though it's empty, because I haven't written anything in it yet. I didn't even fill in the index after finishing the setup, which is probably something I should have done, but I will do it when I start using this notebook in January. The vinyl sticker in the bottom right corner is actually the Patreon exclusive vinyl sticker from November. It is currently available in the secret shop within my shop, which is accessible for all patrons. There's a special password that only my patrons get. So if you weren't a Charles patron during November, you can still get the sticker if you want to. And moving on to the next spread, this will be the first out of 2 books to read spreads. This is kind of my TBR list, which basically just means books I want to read. It's not very complicated. I want to make this very similar to the spreads that I made in my previous reading journal. I really liked that layout. I really liked the look of it, so that's what I'm doing. The theme is a little bit different this time around though. I am using the vintage rose washi tapes from Notebook Therapy, mainly the new one. They have 2. The first one is more like browns and pinks, and this new one is more beige and red, so I use that. After making my December bullet journal setup, I've definitely opened my eyes to red, so yeah, I wanted to include that. I wrote the title with a brush pen that is kind of a pale red, almost pink, and I really like the look of them. So how the spread works is I print out book covers using a regular printer. I've always gotten a lot of questions about this in the past. I haven't actually printed out any books for the spread for this video. I'm waiting until Christmas. I'll be back with my family and I'm gonna use my parents' printer and their ink. But basically what I do is I use Pages. I have a Mac, so I use Pages. You can also use Word. I Google all the books that I want to print pictures of, save the photos, put them into Pages or Word, and then I change the size to 2 centimeter width. I don't really care what the height is. They're gonna look similar-ish because of the width will be the same. So yeah, that's what I do, and then I print them in full color and then I glue them into my spread. I'm going to be a little bit more selective with the books that I put in my books to read spreads this time around than I did last year, only putting in books that I have actually bought already or books that I definitely know I want to read, because in my 2022 journal I only read about half of the books that was in my TBR, and I just picked up new books that wasn't in the list because, you know, a lot happens throughout one year. And I opened my eyes to a lot of new authors, a lot of new series and genres and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely don't want to fill up both of these spreads so early in the year as I did last time. And I do feel like last time I used the spread more of oh, these are books that I would like to maybe pick up at some point. But this time I am making a separate spread that is just for quickly jotting down books that I might want to check out. And then this spread, or these 2 spreads here, are going to be more of these are books that I definitely want to read, and more of a place for me to put down books to kind of remind myself that, oh, this is the next book you decided to read, or yeah, stuff like that. So that's kind of the difference. It's a very subtle difference from last year, but for me it does make quite a big difference. So yeah, just trying to explain kind of how I'm thinking about the spreads that I am making and changes that I am making from year to year in my reading journal, because for some people it might not seem like a big difference at all. My yearly spreads in my reading journals are usually quite similar because they work. And I like the spreads that I usually make. And also my themes don't really change that much. I tend to go for a kind of vintage looking theme in my reading journal because, I don't know, it just feels right. I mean, in general, my themes vary so much in my reading journal because every spread is different. But I do tend to go for a more vintage look for the initial first spreads or the yearly spreads. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing here. And the vintage rose set from Notebook Therapy is just perfect for this. Moving on to the next spread, don't worry, you will see a final flip through of all of the spreads at the end of the video. My next spread is a new spread that I have not done before in my reading journal. This is a spread for new releases that I am looking forward to in 2023. This is a spread that I thought I would make because I'm definitely deeper into the reading community online now than I was a year ago. I think it's because I have been focusing a lot more on like making my reading journal videos and looking up books that I maybe wouldn't have known about if I hadn't followed people on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram that post a lot about books. And I feel like, the more I read and the more I Google books or like search for books, the more content appears for me, which is, how the internet works these days. And just opened my eyes to more authors and more books that I am looking forward to reading in 2023. And of course, having a Goodreads account helps a lot because people make the best lists on there, and I get a lot of ideas for books that maybe I'd like to read and authors that I'd like to follow. So this is definitely a spread that I think I'm going to enjoy, and I had a lot of fun setting it up as well, so that helps. Speaking of Goodreads, yes, I do have an account. I will put a link in the description box. You can follow me if you want to, but I don't write book reviews on there. I just browse books, and then I put books that I'm reading into my reading list, and that's about it. But yeah, I don't have room for that many new releases on this page, but I think enough. In the end, I have room for 7 books that I can look forward to in 2023. I have some candidates already, so I'll be putting those in over the holidays. To decorate the spread, I used some stickers from Made by Milo, which I'll put a link to in the description box below. A really cute Etsy shop, lots of cute stickers. The book stickers are perfect for this theme, of course. And I also used washi tape from the Bunny Blush washi tape set from Notebook Therapy, which was designed by mochibujo. Unfortunately, the set is sold out at the moment, but I felt like I haven't been using it as much as I should because the colors are really pretty. They worked really well with the book stickers from Made by Milo, so I wanted to use them in the spread. 2023 is the year of the rabbit. You might be noticing that a lot of my washi tape is on these like plastic cards, and that's because I'm currently in Japan, I'm traveling, I can't bring all of these full rolls of washi tape with me. So I put washi tape on plastic cards, like not the whole roll, just a little bit, just enough so that if I want to use it, I have it. It makes it really easy for me to bring a lot of washi tape with me wherever I go. And also because I film a lot of my videos out like at cafes. This video was filmed at my apartment just because I needed a lot of supplies to make this setup. So I thought, it's just easier to do it at home, even though I had to sit on the floor. But yeah, I get these little plastic cards just on AliExpress. Very simple, cheap, take a long time to arrive, but it's okay. They're very useful. I would recommend if you need them. I mean, if you have the space and you mostly craft at home and you don't need to bring your washi tapes outside of your house, then I would probably suggest not spending all that time to put them on the cards because it does take a while. But if you need them, if you have a use for them, they're great. Just search for PVC washi tape cards on AliExpress and a lot of options will pop up. They're all the same, so I would love to know if there are any books or series, any releases that you are looking forward to in 2023 so that I can get some ideas for my own list. Of course, I can't know about all books that are out there. I usually read between 1 and 4 books a month, so there's a limit to how many books I can keep up with and how many series I can keep up with, but I would love to get some new suggestions. So any book recommendations you have or any new releases you are looking forward to, put them in the comments so that I can maybe add them to my own reading journal. Once I start using this journal in January, I will of course show you what I have put in my list and maybe post some photos on Instagram as well. And if you're curious about the little book that keeps popping out that I'm pulling the bunny stickers from, that is my traveler's notebook, my little passport-sized traveler's notebook. I have an insert with sticker release paper, which I use to keep some stickers. So these bunny stickers actually came on a washi tape roll, like stickers on a roll, but I put them in here so that they would be easier to bring around. I really like it. I can't find it anywhere anymore, so it might be sold out. I know that it was a limited edition release from the Travelers Company, unfortunately. Moving on to the next spread, this is where I will have my 2023 reading challenge. And this is a fun challenge. You know, like in 2022, I did the Around the World challenge. It worked to a certain extent. It was my first year actually doing a proper reading challenge, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect, and I didn't really know if I would like it or not. And like, I did like it, but I am a very intuitive reader, and I definitely just pick up whichever book I feel like reading, and less restrictions put on me means more books read, actually, because I won't feel like I have to read something, or, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but that's just kind of how I feel. But in 2023, I am doing a different reading challenge. I have to say, it's not completely done, but this is the idea. So I'll make 3 categories of like a type of book that I'd like to read. I haven't decided on the categories yet, but each category will have 4 books, and then the challenge is to read 4 books within each category. So that makes 12 books. Hopefully, like, I can do 1 book a month like I tried to do last year, but this time with a different theme in mind. So 3 categories. They could be anything really. They could be books about a certain event or set in a certain country, or they could be, you know, the genre of the books. They could be horror books, they could be textbooks, history books, like anything like that. Since I haven't decided on the categories yet, I would love to get some suggestions from you guys. If you have any categories that you'd like to suggest or recommend, even books, if you have books to recommend. I will be thinking it over the holidays and then decide on the categories in January. To decorate the spread, I am using washi tape from the Matcha Ichigo washi tape set from Notebook Therapy, and also washi tape from the Sakura Journey washi tape set. The pink paper with the gold and silver details are also from the Sakura Journey collection from Notebook Therapy. There's a scrapbooking paper set that has lots of pretty papers. I was sent the book sticker by a pen pal, so I don't know where it's from, but it is really cute and it fits the theme of reading journal, obviously. The little label stickers are from Happy Dinosaur Co. You can find them on Etsy. I will put a link in the description box. For other decorations, I used a bunch of stickers from Marigona Suli Art. They're just really fun pink and green stickers. I thought they would really fit the theme. They just make the spread look so happy and exciting, and yeah, I just really like how it looks. Very different from the other spreads that I made so far, I guess, in this journal, but I really enjoy it. And of course, I left some room to write the titles for the 3 categories, so no worries there. There will be room for that. This spread is also a new spread that I haven't made before. I did mention that my reading tracker didn't really work out in my 2022 setup, so this time I'm making a different kind of reading tracker. So instead of tracking the days that I read, I'm going to track how many pages I've read and how many hours I have listened to audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I really enjoy listening to audiobooks when I am commuting, like if I'm on the train or the bus, or going for a walk, or when I'm drawing or working. I was listening to an audiobook while I made this, like while I filmed this. I just think that it's a really nice way to consume books. I know it's not for everyone. Not everyone likes audiobooks. Some people don't even think that listening to audiobooks should count as reading a book, but I disagree. I think that audiobooks are great, and they're really great for people who maybe have a hard time reading, or maybe have poor eyesight, or maybe they're blind. And I just think that it's a little bit elitist to say that it's not, like, that it doesn't count as reading a book, but that's just me. It's my humble opinion. For me, in my journal, it counts as reading, and my journal is for me, so I get to make the rules. To decorate the spread, I used washi tape from the Golden Hour set from Notebook Therapy. It's just like beautiful orange, like golden tones. I really like it. It is currently sold out, but they did make a twin collection called Twilight Hour, which is more like purple. It's also really pretty, and it's a set that comes with both a notebook and a washi tape set. So, if you don't have a notebook, or if you're looking for a new notebook, getting both together could be a good idea. I'm also using this orange witch sticker sheet from Marigona Suli Art, which I thought would fit really well with the colors. Orange is a color that I really like. It's just so warm and makes me feel very happy and cozy. And this washi tape set just really reminds me of late summers, like warm summer nights, and just brings all the good vibes. So how does this tracker work? So I have these two sections that you can see on the page, and I split them into squares. So I'm just using the dot grid in the notebook to just make little squares, and then the top section will be for pages read, and the bottom one is for hours listened. I accidentally wrote minutes listened instead of hours, which didn't really make that much sense. It's not like I'm gonna track every minute of audiobooks that I've listened to in 2023. I don't think that there would be room for that in this tracker, so it's supposed to be hours. I haven't quite decided how many pages and hours will be for each square, but I'm thinking maybe like 50 pages per square and 1 hour per square in the audiobook tracker, and then I will just fill in each square as I go. So maybe after I've finished a book, I will fill in this tracker. So instead of having to fill in the tracker every day like I would have needed to in my 2022 journal, I can just fill it in when I finish a book, which works a lot better for me because that is when I use my reading journal, when I finish a book. So I think that this will work a lot better. I mean, I hope so, but I also think that this is the right and correct idea for my reading habits and for my reading journal habits. I'll try to keep you updated on how this spread works for me throughout 2023. And then after this, I only made one more spread. So this last spread is just a book list. I called it a book list. It is like books I'd like to read, but in a different way than the previous two spreads that I made for books that I would like to read. So this is that spread that I mentioned earlier in the video that just has like a basic list where I can put down like book ideas. I can just like quickly put in a book idea or a book recommendation. It's a very like low effort spread, just a list basically, and then I've just decorated the spread. I used the Vintage Rose washi tape set again from Notebook Therapy, and also some of the stamps from the Vintage Rose stamp set, both the first and the second versions. I like both of them equally, I think, when it comes to the stamps. I got some interesting questions about my reading journal over on YouTube on my community page. One of them was where did the initial inspiration come from and what motivates you to keep going? I got inspired to make a reading journal because I saw that one of my friends had a reading journal. This was back in, I guess, like 2018, 2019, when my friend was recommending me a lot of books to read, and she had a really pretty book journal that she kept, and I thought this would be fun and maybe it would motivate me to read more books because, like many other students, I didn't really have the energy to pick up extra books after reading so many articles and so many textbooks for university. I just I just couldn't handle reading more books. So I made a reading journal and it did help. Like, it was motivating. I got to make a spread, got to make something pretty after I had read a book, and I got to like have a list of books that I'd like to read, and it was just like a fun new project. Whenever I struggle to do something, I try to make it into a creative project because that makes me more motivated to work on it. So yeah, my reading journal definitely started out as like trying to trick myself into like reading more books, because then I could make spreads in a notebook, and I also got to use a second notebook in addition to my bullet journal. So that's kind of how I got started. As to how I keep motivated, I guess that it just kind of comes naturally now. I really enjoy looking back on the year and like, oh, these are the books that I read, and just like how those books made me feel. And I also get to use a lot of different stationery in my reading journal because I don't have a monthly theme like I do in my bullet journal, so I just kind of use whatever. So that's also a motivator, I think, just making the spreads. And I will say that I have really like found my love for reading again after I started my reading journal in 2019. Like, I used to read so much when I was a teenager. Like, middle school was a great time for me when it came to reading. That's how I learned English, by reading lots of books. And my reading journal has really helped me rediscover this love for reading that I used to have as a child. And now I'm an adult and I love books. Like, I really love reading, and my reading journal helped me find that. I also got a question asking if I read differently now that I have a reading journal than I maybe did before without a reading journal. And to be honest, I don't think so. I mean, I read more now that I have a reading journal than I did before. So maybe that is the biggest change. I don't think I read any differently. Maybe a little bit faster. Well, I guess one thing that is different is that I split my reads into like months. So I try to think like, oh, this month I will read this book or these books, and then next month I can read that book, or like planning my reads a little bit more maybe. But I think that's the only differences. So yeah, that's it for the spreads that I made in my reading journal so far. These are kind of the yearly spreads that I'm gonna keep adding to throughout the year. The last thing that I did was I put the sticker that pen pal sent to me on the front page that says "so booked" because I thought it was kind of cute. And then yeah, here is the final flip through of all of the spreads. This was a really long video, so if you're still here, be sure to put a green tea and a book emoji in your comment to let me know. I would love to hear about your reading habits and your reading journals in the comments if you have them. And of course, books that you're looking forward to reading in 2023, or books that you'd recommend me to read in the coming year. Also, let me know if you make any of the spreads that I made in this video, if that's something that you usually do in your reading journal, or if there are any other spreads that you always make in your journal. Again, a big thank you to Notebook Therapy for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel and my creative journey. Their products always hit the spot for me, and I couldn't be happier to be able to work with them. Remember that you can get 10% off your order with my code mochibujo10. And with that, all that's left to say is thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Thank you for following my reading journey on my channel, especially those who watch my monthly update videos. I really appreciate you so much. I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!